There's a new robot on the scene, and you're not going to believe where it's causing trouble. In our attics. Yep. Today, we're diving into the bizarre story of an automated intruder and the absolute panic it's causing among home inspectors. And you gotta love this quote from one home inspector. It just perfectly sums up this whole man versus machine conflict that's brewing. It really sets the stage for the drama. So, what is this machine that's causing such a fuss? Let's get right to it and meet the star of our show, a robot named Paris. Paris stands for Precision Application Robot for Inaccessible Spaces. And get this, it's a totally real project from Northeastern University, built for a U.S. Department of Energy competition. Its whole job is to make our homes more energy efficient by going into all those places that, we really don't want to. The best way to picture it? Think of a little tank with 4 motorized flippers that let it climb over all the beams and squeeze into tight spots. It's got a thermal camera for eyes to spot heat leaks and a long arm to spray sealant, which is basically a selfie stick for home repair. And the way it works is pretty brilliant. It just crawls around the Arctic on its own, finds all those spots where you're wasting energy, builds this super detailed 3D map, and then seals up the gaps. The best part? Someone controls the whole thing from a tablet, sitting somewhere comfy, definitely not in a hot, dusty attic. But you can probably guess that the news of Paris's arrival wasn't exactly met with a round of applause. Nope. It actually kicked off a huge backlash from the very people who make a living in those crawl spaces. So, the story goes that almost overnight, a group of home inspectors organized to protest this new tech. They're calling themselves IAM, Inspectors Against Machines, and they started showing up with some pretty great signs. Their slogans really get right to the point, don't they? One guy even duct-taped his moisture meter to a broom handle as this big symbolic gesture. They were not going to be replaced without a fight. But for every action, there's a reaction, right? So on the other side of this fight, you've got the real estate agents, who have apparently welcomed their new robot colleague with open arms. They started their own group, the National Association of Real Estate Robotics, or NAR. And this is where you can really see the battle lines being drawn. On one side, you've got IM, terrified of losing their jobs, out there protesting. And on the other, NAR is supposedly already firing human inspectors, putting in pre-orders for the next-gen robot, and even talking about a new system where inspectors just become robot delivery drivers. The realtors are just completely over the moon about this. One agent was raving that the robot not only did the inspection overnight, but also wrote a really flattering description for the house listing. I guess Paris has a secret talent for marketing copy. Well, as you might expect, things got serious pretty fast. A third group, calling itself the Intergalactic Association of Real Estate Personnel, apparently filed a huge lawsuit against the robot for practicing without a license. And we're not talking about some small complaint here. We're talking 412 pages. The lawsuit claims that Paris wasn't just sealing cracks in the walls, it was sealing regulatory loopholes. And if you thought it couldn't get any wilder, think again. The situation supposedly got so tense, with rumors of inspectors gathering with infrared thermometers and clipboards, that one governor actually put the National Guard on standby. Okay, let's just take a breath. An inspector revolt, lawsuits, the National Guard. This is all completely insane, which of course leads to one very, very important question. Let's just hit pause for a second and try to figure out what's real technology here and what's, well, just a crazy story. So here's the big reveal. The robot is 100% real. The Paris Project, Northeastern University, the Department of Energy, all of that is legit. But the whole social meltdown, the inspector protests, the realtor group, the 412-page lawsuit, the National Guard, yeah, that was all a fictional story cooked up for the article to talk about the tech. All right, so now that we've debunked the Great Inspector Revolt, let's talk about what this very real technology actually means for us. The real purpose of Paris is a lot less dramatic, but honestly, a lot more important. It's built to do the dirty, dangerous jobs that people just shouldn't have to do. We're talking about crawling through attics with bad air, crazy temperatures, and who knows what else. The goal is just to make our homes more energy efficient and safer by letting a machine do the risky part while a person supervises from somewhere safe. Look, the story about the Inspector Revolt was satire, but it works because it taps into a fear that's very real for a lot of people, this anxiety about automation taking over jobs. We see it everywhere. So this time, the panic was a joke. But as robots like Paris get smarter, more common, and more capable. What happens when the revolt isn't a joke anymore?